Hi class, here's a fun Discrepant Event for you to do with your students. Get a type of soda and its counterpart in the diet section, and here I have a regular Coke and a Diet Coke. And what we're going to try and do is we're going to try and predict if these are going to sink and float. Now I've got this as a hand-me-down from my daughter. She got a bigger fish tank and let me keep the little fish tank, but any container that's about 5 inches or just enough to see if that Coke will sink or float will do a nice job for you. So let's make some predictions before we try it out. Do you think this Coke is going to sink or float?
I think it's going to float.
All right, you think your Coke is going to sink or float?
I think it's going to float.
All right, well, let's just check. Now, when you put it in, be sure and don't trap that little air under the bottom in this part right here. So just kind of tip it in sideways and dip it in. And let's see if it sinks or floats. Oh, Zachary, I'm sorry, it sinks. All right, Allison, let's try yours. And Allison's floats. Wow. Okay. Well, let's guess at why that might be. Zach, why do you think that yours sank and hers floated?
I'm not sure.
Not sure. What do you think?
Mine's lighter.
Yours is lighter. Well, it could be. Well, some of my students have said, well, of course this is diet, and diet is a lot lighter because it doesn't make people fat like regular soda does. But that's just not the truth, is it? We know that the regular sweeteners aren't as good. Well, no sweeteners are very good for you. But let's read the ingredients on here. Oh, yes, thank you. Let's trade. What is your first ingredient, Zachary?
Carbonated water.
Carbonated water?
Carbonated.
All right, second ingredient?
High fructose corn syrup.
High fructose corn syrup. Oof.
Caramel color.
Oh, caramel color. Caramel color. Where's your sweetener at? Yeah, it's like, do you see aspartame in there as the third ingredient? That's below caramel color. How much caramel color do you think is in there? Lots and lots or just a few drops?
A lot.
Yeah, okay, far less than the amount of high fructose corn syrup. Now, high fructose corn syrup is very dense and it will float. It will push this right to the bottom, so it will sink. But aspartame is a sweetener that's actually, there's such a few drops in here, it's like 3 drops in here. It will float just because of that. Now, you can try this experiment, but you do want to be careful. Here, let's try with Diet Sprite and regular Sprite. Let's drop these in. Let's make a prediction. Here, let me trade you. And now, Zachary, you've got the Sprite Zero, the Diet Sprite, and you've got the regular Sprite. Drop these in. Wait, do you think yours will sink or float?
Probably float.
Float. And sink or float?
Sink.
Sink. Okay, I think they've got the right idea. Let's give it a try. And kind of tip it over to the side so that air bubble drops out. All right. Hey, look at there. And, of course, the diet floats and the regular sinks. Now, I was thinking that that this was just wonderful, that it would be no problem. And so I had some of my students, and I just grabbed a regular soda. Now, this is the same soda as this Sprite right here. Allison, drop this in, and let's see. Will that sink or float?
Sink.
Sink. Of course it will sink. And what does it do? It floats, doesn't it? Wow, that's just crazy. And now, Zach, grab this regular Coke. Will that regular Coke sink or float?
Well, the other one sinks, so this one should sink.
Yeah, Coke is Coke, right? You'd think it would just sink. Release that air bubble, and it floats. Now, why is that? Well, I made this mistake. That's why you should always do your Discrepant events prior. This one is actually less massive. This one is 380 grams, and this one's 388 grams. And I know you're thinking 8 grams isn't going to matter, but it's just at that tipping point. And what I'm saying is before you do this Discrepant event, check to make sure that it actually works, or you can mask those, and anything less than 382 is going to sink, and these are going to float. But the sinking and floating soda is a fun way to demonstrate density. I think that you'll enjoy this Discrepant event, and hey, these are always recyclable. Enjoy.